Hi, everybody. It's Gene Simmons, and you're not, and you're listening to the Potter Than Hell podcast with Steve, BC, BB, and Dylan. But you knew that, didn't you?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Potter Than Hell podcast. This is your last stop on the crazy train of hard rock and heavy metal. So sit back, buckle in, and hang on. Here we go.
Hello, Hellions, and welcome back to the Potter Than Hell podcast. I'm BC again, and I'm joined today with
Steve.
Alrighty, it's only two of us today because we're doing part 2 of our album duel on the band Lillian Axe. So, how's it going, Steve?
It's going good. We're recording. It's what the hell is the May 25th? It's like 2:30 in the afternoon. So we're getting this one in, and so we can take next week off, the week of Memorial Day. And we just recorded the other night, but we're back again, just me and BC. Always good to have me and BC. And actually, it's weird because you've hosted twice in the last 3 or 4 episodes.
Yeah, it's craziness. But I just got done babysitting here. I am.
I know, you sent me the pictures.
We had to delay it by a half hour.
She's kicking your ass.
Oh my god! I told Steve I have chalk over my face, green, orange.
See, she's getting practicing so she can do a chalk outline on you when she fucking decks you and you're knocked out. She can do an outline of your whole body.
Alrighty. Like last week, our episode was Jeopardy. How do you think it went?
I was nervous. And actually, when we record with BB and Dylan, we'll talk about it a little more. But I got to admit, I was a little nervous doing the hosting of the Jeopardy. I mean, I've hosted this podcast since forever. I mean, everyone's had their turn at the wheel, but it's my first doing Jeopardy, of me doing the questions and me doing the asking of the questions. It was fun. It was a little nerve-wracking for me, but it was. I thought it came out okay. So, what'd you think?
Hey, like I said, I think we discussed the other night that this is almost 4 years in the making.
It is.
So it was a lot of anticipation. I mean, but I thought it came out good, really good. I mean, you always have those certain things that, boom, you're sitting there going, I have no idea. And then there's the ones that are so easy that they stump you because they're so easy.
They're almost too easy.
Right between your legs.
And because I've talked to other people and it's tough. It's easy when you're listening to something and you can belt out the answers boom, 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 boom. But when it's you and you have to answer and you're under the clock or whatever, it's sometimes your mind just fucking vapor locks. But it's fun though. I like doing them regardless of whether I'm hosting it or being a participant. And everyone did good. Everyone at the end came out on the positive side before Final Jeopardy, I'll say. But it was fun.
Alrighty. So what do you listen to this week?
All right. Well, since we only recorded the other day, I'm still kind of listening to the same shit, but still checking out the new Sweet Lynch album, Heart and Sacrifice. Still checking out the new the 69 Eyes album, Death of Darkness. I know Dylan hates them, but I like them. They got that little gothic kind of feel to them. And today, with it being May 25th, 2023, today is the 40th anniversary of the release of Dio's Holy Diver. So once again, I threw that one on. And of course, the Joe Barresi remix from 2022 that is absolutely fantastic. And Holy Diver, go-to album for me, just absolutely fantastic. How about you? What do you got?
I'm still checking out, like you, the Sweet Lynch, the new Heaven's Edge, and whatever else is on the radio at the time. Really,
I'm liking the Heaven's Edge.
I'm gonna give you the Up and Down. I think.
Yeah.
First song
didn't really hit you that much.
No, it rocking song, then it kind of mellowed down. The rocking song, then mellowed down.
It does. There's peaks and valleys in it, definitely.
Yeah. By
the songs are good, but I know what you mean. By
songs are definitely good, but
they're on Monsters of Rock next year, right?
Yes, they are.
All right, that's cool. And actually, a couple other bands just got mentioned. Black and Blue is going to be on there. So I forget what other ones, but Black and Blue is the main one that I was happy. And I do like to see bands on there that weren't on there every year. I mean, we're still from last year. We have the ones we have again that I can think of off the top of my head so far. We have Queensryche, Winger, Extreme, there's a couple more, but not a whole lot. So we had Ace Frehley, Joe Satriani, except KK's Priest.
But so far, even the bands that were in last year, they're good bands.
No, I know. There's like none of it.
It's not like, oh,
yeah.
Geez.
And we mentioned before too, not on this one, but we get to see Jason McMaster once again, but with Dirty Looks this time. So I'm gonna not Dirty Looks. I'm sorry, Dangerous Choice. So I'm gonna give them another. I didn't give them a whole big chance when they played a couple of years ago on Monsters of Rock Cruise. So I'm gonna give them a better shot this time.
Who was the other one that announced? It's not familiar to me.
Oh, the Toledo or something like that.
Something like that.
They played. I want to say they played on the Kiss cruise. Maybe the last one or the one before, and I believe they have a female singer. But she was, I thought they were decent from what I remember, but I don't really remember them that well because I think they were kind of one of the bands that was playing either when someone else was or we were eating or shooting the shit or something like that. But I do remember the name, and from what I do remember, they were good.
It will be interesting.
Absolutely.
Alrighty, so that's what we've been listening to. Like I said, we're back to the album duo, Lillian Axe. We did their first two albums, which were, of course, Lillian Axe self-titled and Love and War. What did you think about the first two albums?
You know, I hadn't listened to them in a while from when we did that, and I like them. I think I think they were a decent start for them, and from what I recall from when we did it, that for me they just kind of lacked like balls out rockers. I mean, there were good. You know, there was some good melodic stuff, some good heavy stuff at times, but I think they just lacked that, like punch that I like to get out of a band. But I mean, I thought it was because there wasn't anything I think that I really hated on them, but I think it was just a decent start. But I think that as we go today, we'll see whether they get their feet under them or not. But I didn't mind. What'd you think?
The first two albums, like I said, I got on right at the self-titled album. It caught my ear, some songs, like you said, a little, I don't know what word I'm looking for, new. So they got the rough stuff in it. Was a little too.
But it was good enough to give them another chance on the second album.
And then this second album was a little bit better, going the right direction at least. And then we're going to see what happened after that album. And that's where we are going to take off today. We're going to hit their third album released. And after their Love and War album, they got dropped by the record label MCA, but MCA was really
not a rock
label. So apparently during this time they did some shows and some showcases, and there was like three album companies that were wanting to sign them, but they went with IRS Grand Slam, which is a smaller division of, I want to say Atlantic. I don't know. I'm terrible when it comes to the record labels, but they gave them the best deal, and it was more of a smaller network, so they figured they would have more of a shot getting back.
They could spend more time on them.
Because the first two albums, they really didn't get too much of a backing from the record label. Shocking, but like you said, they weren't really a hard rock record label to begin with. But in 1992, they came out with the third album, Poetic Justice. It's the first album on the IRS record label. Came out January 14th of 1992. Comes in just under 50 minutes at 49 minutes and 51 seconds. It was recorded in Phoenix, Maryland. It's Sheffield Studios. And the producer was, I'm going to kill this guy's name. Gotta love it. Leaf Masses?
Leaf Masses. That's how I have it.
Again, here they are. They're on a new record label, and I was watching an interview with Steve Blaze, and he goes through each album, through their whole catalog, and what was going on there in time. He goes,
"Oh, really?"
And he goes, "We're on a record label," and he felt that they pushed him to get this album up. They said,
kind of hurried it up
a little bit. I'm like, I guess it happens. But for the band now, they had a little change up in a lineup from the last album. They still had Ron Taylor on vocals, of course. Steve Blaze, it's his band, he should be in it. John Steer is still on rhythm and keys, and then Darren Delante on bass came in, and new drummer Gene Barnett from Dirty Looks fame came in on drums. So I was really pumped up because I was a fan of Dirty Looks. So I mean, to me, it was a good lineup. So all right, we're gonna
one of the probably 100 drummers and dirty looks. That's a
Yeah.
But at that point though, there weren't as many.
There weren't as many.
There had been through the years.
After he left it was the Spinal Tap of
Spinal. Yeah.
Spinal Tap of drums. But all right, so we're gonna start the album off. Starts off with, of course, the title track, Poetic Justice, which is not really a song. It's just like a little music piece, which I don't know. I think you could have started it off a little bit. You should have just not have this on there and started off with I'm going to go right to the second track, Innocence. I mean, that's where they should have started off, I thought. I mean, that first piece, there was no even build up. It was just...
Yeah, I don't get why, A, that's on there. You know I hate those things. But B, why is that the name of the album? And it's like a little minute thing. Like it'd be like whatever that shitty intro is on the beginning of Tooth and Nail, calling it that, whatever this Into the Storm or whatever the fuck it was called. Stupid.
That might be a little bit better than this.
Oh, it is better than that. But it's like to say why would you call your album this? And it's just a little synthesizer freaking intro. I don't know. I don't get it. There's other and I apologize for interrupting you right off the bat. But there's other songs on this album that you could have named the album that, or even Lillian Axe 2.
Anything.
Or 3. I'm sorry, 3.
But yeah, it starts off in track 2 is just a killer riff comes in, and this is how they should have started off the album. The drums kick in. I mean, Steve Blaze to me has these little lead parts throughout the song, which I think is very cool. The first verse is like a little bit more to mid-tempo. And then when it builds, it gets faster, and I like when it builds up into the full steam. And then there's the little parts. The little parts of Steve Blaze is playing throughout this album. Like there's a little part before they go into the solo, which I think is so cool. And then you got Steve Blaze, the solo. Come on, Steve Blaze. I mean, this guy to me he's definitely underrated. Even today, back then,
he's not rated.
He's not rated, so he's definitely totally underrated. And then track 3 is going to be this was one of their singles, True Believer. Starts off with a classic riff, and this was not a single. I'm sorry, this is the one they wanted to be a single, and the record company didn't want nothing to do with. They wanted to release the cover tune as the single, which I think that killed them, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. This one, True Believer, very radio. I think it would have been great. The classic riff that has the lead, I guess those lead parts he puts in all over the place. It just has a catchy chorus. But to me, the only down part of the song, I think, is the guitar solo. It's very mellow. I mean, the song is kind of up, and then you get to the solo part, and it's borderline acoustic solo. It's very mellow, which I don't know why they did that. But overall, very good song. Track 4 is going to be Body Double. I think this could have been another single if they released it. It opens up with the Body Double with the bass and drums. And then kicks into this crunchy riff. Overall, it's a catchy tune. Has the catchy chorus. And again, more lead bits, which I just think is the best. And then it has the Paul Stanley in there from Paul's days back in there. But the coolest part of the song,
Heaven's on Fire.
Heaven's on Fire, doing that. They have that in the song. But the coolest part of that song is the solo, which, I mean, again, another ripping solo. Track 5, they're going to slow it down for See You Someday. It's more of a keyboard, mellow guitar starting to this. You have the woo, which I could do without. I mean, if there was a skipper on this album, this is definitely one I would want to skip. Yeah, it has what is becoming their trademark dual vocals in it. Mellow solo. Nothing really exciting with the song. Kind of a slow ballady type song. So I guess you would say they start off side 2. Picking it right back up, which you need to do after a song like that with track 6, Living in the Gray. Fucking heavy riff opening, just down mellow. It goes down a little bit for the verse, and it builds back up into the heavy riff, and then back down to mellow and back up. I kind of like a little bit up and down, like it mellows out and kicks right back into the riffs. There's that little pre-solo part, which again, these parts are so cool. Another good solo. It's kind of short, but still a good solo. And again, Ron Taylor's vocals on this album, I think, are just constantly improving. He's one of the main guys but I won't do a birthday episode just all Ron Taylor stuff.
Our fellow hosts will kill you.
I learned my lesson that time. So after the slow song and picking it back up into a rocking song, again, I'm not sure why they did this. Track 7's a Digital Dreams. It's just like another little musical piece or something. Again, this album is 13 songs. They probably could have knocked it down to 10 and had a good album. But anyways, who are we to say why it was on there? So they go back to track 8, Dying to Live. I like it. It has this cool guitar part into the lead, into it, and then the lead parts that Steve Blaze throws in. It's kind of a mid-tempo song. It slows down before the pre-chorus. Overall, not bad. It's catchy after listening to this so many times. Track 9, Mercy. This starts off acoustic start with picking into it, and it comes into a big riff, chorus. And again, there's this mellow part before the solo, which I think is cool. And then the solo in this song just rips it up. Steve Blaze again. Track 10, Promised Land. Here we go again, kind of like a more, and you'll see later on in their career, this is where they kind of go, but at least they've grown a little bit better into it. Promised Land is pretty much an acoustic and vocal tune. Some more of the dual vocals. Solo is melodic, very fitting for the type of song it is. Overall, nothing too great. Track 11, No Matter What, is the Badfinger cover that they do, and the record label did a video for this, and this is what they put out there. I don't know, I think, and even Steve Blaze is like, they didn't want to release this. Of course, the record company did, and back in those days, I guess
they were paying the bills.
They're paying the bills, so you're at the mercy there. But I mean, I heard the original. It's a not bad song. I mean, for a cover tune, it has the "Mama, We're All Crazy" start to it, and then I dig it. It's not bad, but I think this hurt them. Okay, you're coming out a new record label, and okay, they're going to push you more, and then this is what they put out there. There's, like Steve said, there's got to be at least 4 songs right at the top of my head that they should have put out first. So track 12 is going to be She's My Salvation. Love the opening riff there. It's very heavy, and then you got the bass and the hi-hat, and more great guitar work, the catchy choruses, the solo. Again, I love it when the drums kick in. It's at the end of the song, really starts picking up pace. And then at the very end, it's just like the guitar and drums going back and forth. And even has some spoken word from Lillian Axe, which you don't find too much spoken word in Lillian Axe music. They must have been listening to Megadeth during that time. But I love the way that song ends, just very cool. And again, another bad point in this album. To me, I mean, again, they could have knocked 3 songs off this right at the top. A Moment of Reflection. Yet I have down yet another musical piece, which out of all the musical pieces they have on this, at least there's guitar in this and synthesizer and acoustic. At least there's a little bit more instruments for a guitar piece, but they should have stopped it with She's My Salvation. That would have been a great ending to it. But I mean, still, this is one of the better albums, I think, by them. I think they're going in the right direction. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, I definitely think they're going in a good direction from the 2 previous albums. You have more rocking stuff on here, like we talked about before. Starting out with this Poetic Justice, this atmospheric synth trash intro. Like, I don't get it. I just don't fucking get it, and especially to name the album after it. But once you get that out of the way, Innocence, I really like this one. Crunchy guitar intro. There's some great leads leading into the chorus. I love when a band does that. They have the chorus right off the bat. I love the feel of the song. The tempo picks up. The song is just killer. Great vocals and background vocals. The song changes and gets melodic with like choppy guitars in it, some acoustic guitar, like a little acoustic guitar interlude there, and then Steve Blaze just freaking tears it up with a lot of layered guitars on this part too that I thought was kind of cool. But then I love when you get that cool innocence, because I love when the pace picks up when they're singing that. Like it literally picks up, and you don't get that a lot in a lot of songs where you'll get a tempo change, but like this, as they're actually singing, the tempo goes up with the music tempo, and the vocal tempo goes up. Fucking awesome. I love that. Fun start. I don't count the beginning because I hate that shit. Songs like Innocence are for me what was missing from the first two albums. Stuff like this, just like Harder Edge, kick ass. Like it's not like a full on rocker, like a blazing song, but it's blazing enough for what we got and for a good start here. True Believer. More choppy guitars at the beginning. The drums build into the main riff. There's like some guitar harmony right in the front. Ron Taylor's vocals are fantastic. And this is another song that I like the feel of it. There's a lot of these songs on here. I like the vibe of the song. There's a slowdown in the middle part with acoustic guitars that pretty much serves, I guess, as the solo in the song. That part I could do without. But the melodic chorus more than makes up enough for that little shitty acoustic part in there. That makes it up for me. Body Double, another song that they start out singing the chorus, which is cool. But like the beginning of this, BC, I get a Frankie Goes to Hollywood kind of start with that relax, don't do it. Like, I don't know why I get that vibe from the beginning of this song, and I don't hate it because like with the way the bass is like thumping and stuff like that. I get that feel like right off the bat from this one. You get a little crunchy guitar part, then it goes right back down to that friggin' thumping bass. Friggin' fantastic. Song's a good head bobber. I love the solo on this one. It's ripping yet melodic at the same time. Steve Blaze is continuing to kill it as we go here. See You Someday. Soft ballad type song. Some acoustic stuff in the mix and some heartfelt vocals with some layering. I mean, it's 1992. Everyone's got to have a song like this at the time, at least one on an album. But this one's actually pretty good. I don't mind it. I think it's actually really good for this type of song. Great vocals and harmonies on there. Really good melodic solo. It's got some dual guitars in there as well. I don't mind this one. I think it's actually pretty good for this type of song. Living in the Gray, quick drum intro, friggin' fantastic. Upper tempo song. And it's got a great pace to it, and then it's one of them that goes, you get that up and down on it. Ron Taylor's voice is very, very good on this album. It picks up in the verse, but I like that the cadence is so cool on this song. Great melodic chorus, and the music for it is really catchy while it's going on. This song's got a good fist pump quality to it. Steve Blaze does not let us down. Really cool solo in it. The tempo picks up as it goes. Another one that I just love that. I love when an abrupt time change is cool, but I like when the song just builds and the tempo just picks up during the song. Band is kicking ass underneath. Another really good one. Digital Dreams. Like, come on, dudes. Like, what the fuck? Next, waste of time and tape. I'm sure they were probably using tape at the time. Although maybe not. They might have been doing digital at the time. Who knows? But whatever they're using, whatever medium they're using, it was a fucking waste. Dying to Live, clean guitar. This one kind of reminds me of Nelson. The Love and Affection Can't Live Without You song. It has that, like the guitar in the beginning reminds me of that. It feels like it's kind of plucked from that. This one's just okay for me. There's some good lead fills here and there. The solo doesn't impress me. I'm kind of meh on it, but it does, that first part does remind me of Nelson, which that song's good too, but I don't know. It's just, this would be one that I would probably put an X through if I was shortening this album up. Mercy starts off acoustic, but it goes into a really intense riff, and then more the more acoustic and then back into electric. I love the arrangement on this song. I think the arrangement is fucking fantastic. Great background vocals and vocals. I love the back and forth with the acoustic guitar and the electric guitar parts. And the guitars, when the electric guitars do come in, they're like, got that really cool choppy feel to them. So breakdown in the middle with some violins thing going on. Then it stops and then starts with the solo. I like when you get that abrupt stop and then boom, the solo friggin' starts, tears it up. Steve Blaze is freaking killing it here. Then the tempo picks up even more. This is another one that is really, really fucking good. Promised Land starts out with the Children's Prayer, which we're going to get a little children talking a little bit later on as well. Acoustic guitars, soft vocals. I was like meh on this song. I listened to it, but then like the last time I listened to it, like I liked it a lot more. I don't know if it just like grew on me or hit me in a certain way, or I was in a mood for it. Not bad. Like I was not liking it at all, but then it kind of grew on me. It's not a favorite, but it's not a total skipper for me. No matter what, like you said, that Badfinger cover, everyone and their fucking uncle did this song. And I do think it was a bad move, but I think they probably wanted to get something recognizable, maybe to maybe get these guys out there. I could see why they did it. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I can see why they did it. The Def Leppard comes immediately to mind when I hear this because they did that. But this one's a little heavier than that. I like this version better than that. It's not a bad version of the song. It's just a misstep, I think, of them doing it. Period. And especially putting out as a single.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're gonna have it, I mean, it's on the back end of the album. Thank God, right? Like it was like if this was like the third song, I'd be like, what the fuck? But it's a decent version of it, and it's got a harder edge to it than say like the Def Leppard version. She's My Salvation. This song brings you right back, though. This song gets you right back into it. It's got like some grindage to it. Goes down for the verses. The melodies are great. The pre-chorus is great. The tempo picks. I love their tempo pickups on this album. I really like the chorus. Cool layered vocals on here. Little short solo. For the there's like a short solo, and then it friggin' totally rips for the rest of the solo. Kind of lulls you into a little like a little sense of security, and then he just fucking tears it up. And I think you're right. If you listen to these albums, Steve Blaze is absolutely fantastic guitar player. They're still doing stuff now. We saw him live. I know you're not down with the singer, but he's the singer in the band, so fucking get over it, bitch. But I mean, and we saw him on the cruise. If you I didn't think the singer was bad. I didn't think it was. I think it was heartbreaking. Watch BC's heartbreak the first time he saw him. But this song is really good, and I love after the solo how the transition back into the chorus is fucking fantastic. Great tempo changes in this song. Like you said, a little spoken word at the end, and then we get a moment of reflection at the end. Talk about ending with a thud. I mean, especially after She's My Salvation. You could have ended that album and you'd be like, man, I want to fucking listen to this again. But if you play this album in a loop, you have moment of reflection, and then boom, right back to that little shitty Poetic Justice thing. Good album. I think it's absolutely a step up from the last album for sure. But couple missteps, like we said, the cover and little too many musical interludes. I think you could. There's like 3 of those things. So if you knock those fucking 3 things off, and maybe one of the slower songs, get a 9-10 song album, it would probably knock it down to about, I don't know, probably like 42 minutes. Perfect length for an album. Keeps your interest. You knock that shit off at the beginning, you knock that shit off at the end. It would be a great album to play on the loop. Obviously now you can make a playlist and skip all that shit in there, and you can do that. But back in the day, you drop the needle on it, or if you're playing the cassette, it's tough to do, especially the cassettes. But I like it. They are definitely still headed in the right direction for this one. I like it.
I agree. I mean, this being a third album, I was already on board since the first album. I liked where they were going. They were heading to me in the right direction. There's a few blunders on the album. Because,
hey,
it happens.
Not many bands have perfect albums.
And And when you read about a lot of these bands, a lot of it was not them. It was the record company saying, we want this, we want this. And who the hell are these people in an office to say, put this on your album? Which, hey, back then... Hey,
I mean, and they're not always wrong.
They're not always wrong,
but they're
wrong.
I think they're more wrong than right on a lot of stuff.
More wrong than right. All right, so that was our first album in Album Duel. And we're going to go take a little break here and play a gym song for you. I'm sticking with the kind of the album, that kind of episode we're doing. I'm going to do a bonus song off of Psychoschizophrenia album. Here is Christmas. From Lillian Axe, of course. My wife's always, every Christmas, play Christmas music, and I always go over and I have Alexa play this song. She goes, all right, you're playing it is Christmas music.
I always play the Twisted Sister Christmas album.
I always do something like, hey, you asked me to play Christmas.
That's right. Hey,
it's Christmas music.
Because when we decorate the tree every year, me and the boys decorate the tree, and that's the tradition. I put on the Twisted Sister Christmas album when we're doing that, so that's good for you. I don't think I know this one, so check it out.
Check it out.
The night was black and velvet, stars were all around, stranger landed lightly on the frosty ground. His eyes were wide with wonder, feel the stars in space. He'd searched the heavens over till he found this place. A sweet snowy carol echoed in his ear, a sound so faint and distant, so strong it drew him here. Whoa, whoa. Here is Christmas coming inside. Here is Christmas far and wide. 1,000
All right, so that was our gym song. Here is Christmas by Lillian Axe. Okay, talking about gems, we're going to do some hitting gems. So, Steve, what do you got for us this week?
All right, I was kind of, floating through my stuff here and seeing something that that I hadn't listened to for a while that I like. So I was just kind of flipping through, and I landed on Quiet Riot. They played M3 last year. Gran just said they were good. Rudy Sarazo was the closest you have to an original member in the band now. We have Jizzy Pearl on vocals. We have Johnny Kelly from Typo Negative on drums. We have Alex Grossi on guitar. So, but I wanted to go back to, I remember when this came out, like, Quiet Riot was kind of, not in the forefront. Of course, they kind of were one of those bands that really ended with a thud. You know what I mean? Just kind of, after Condition Critical came out, they were starting to slide downwards. And then when Quiet Riot 3 came out, they went from playing, like, arenas to, we saw them at Rocky Glen, like they're playing, like, like smaller venues and stuff. But then 1999, they came out with Alive and Well, which has 8 new songs on it. And they re-recorded, actually 8 new songs. They did a cover of Highway to Hell on there, which isn't bad, actually. And then they re-recorded 6 songs. And the new songs, I think, are good. Don't Know What I Want, Angry is great, Alive and Well. And the 4th song, The Ritual, on there is fucking fantastic. Just a killer song. Overworked and Underpaid. Typical. That song, I think you could have put that right on like Condition Critical with like Red Alert and songs like that. It has that kind of feel to it. But the songs they re-recorded, they did Sign of the Times, Don't Want to Let You Go, The Wild and the Young, Mama We're All Crazy Now, Come On Feel the Noise, and Mental Health, of course, those last 3. But the version of The Wild and the Young on here, it's extended, and Carlos Cavazo absolutely fucking shreds on that song, The Wild and the Young, on there. So check that out. It's on streaming. It's fantastic. Like I said, the new tracks are great, and it's not one of those shitty re-records like when Kiss did that one when they put out Sonic Boom. They re-recorded like Hotter Than Hell and Deuce and that, and they sound like ass. These ones actually fucking sound good. So check that out. Alive and Well from Quiet Riot from 1999.
Nice. Okay, as people know, I'm not the most technical guy. But it's funny, I downloaded, I got Sirius XM in my vehicle, and then I downloaded the app so I can listen to the Hair Nation.
Oh, the deep tracks.
Deep tracks. And I was letting that play the one night, and believe it or not, they played this next band. So I was like, I almost forgot about these guys. And, Steve Whitman from Kix's solo project, Funny Money.
Oh, Funny Money, yeah.
That came on, I'm like, and it, you're doing stuff and it stops you dead. It was a song about women, which I thought is just funny song, just rocking. I mean, there's nothing fancy about these guys, just good old rock and roll. But I mean, it caught my ear, and not too many times does something stop me anymore. And I'd be like, ooh.
Well, you hear Steve White be like, oh, that's not Kix.
Yeah, and then I'm like, ooh, who's this? And then you hear the voice. I'm like, I know who it is, but this ain't Kix. But yeah, Funny Money. I mean, it's a good album, but it's the song about women. So that was our pick. Steve had from Quiet Riot's Alive and Well album, which is a great album, and The Wild and the Young fucking song rips. And that was the year we saw him.
That was the year we saw him. Yeah,
we saw him at a local place. Oof.
We pretty much crawled out of the fucking place.
We crawled out there for many reasons, but that night Carlos was.
Carlos was.
He was
on
the money. He was on the money.
Yeah.
He was.
And about the Funny Money, I didn't go back and check Slamfest with Brad Restoven. Him and I did a whole episode on Funny Money last year, and it came out really good. And it was the first that I had listened to those albums in years. And I'll tell you what, I regret not seeing them back in the day, because that was when Kix was on their hiatus,
yeah.
and there's some really good stuff on there. So go back and check out Slamfest if you want to know more and hear more from Funny Money. Brad and I did an episode for it, and it was great, and it was excellent going back listening to those tracks, and Yeah, and if you have Sirius XM, you have the app. If you pay for it and you have the app, check out that deep track, because there's the Hair Nation deep tracks, and then there's the Ozzy's Boneyard deep tracks too. So absolutely check them out. And the Funny Money stuff is great too.
Alrighty, so that's our hidden gems for the week. So we're gonna go into the second of our album duels today. It's gonna be Lillian Axe's 1993 release, Psychoschizophrenia. Whew, say that 3 times in a row. So this is the second album off the IRS Grand Slam record label. And shockingly, it came out on August 9th of 1993, recorded at the same place that they did Poetic Justice. And during the recordings of this, the recording was held up because of a blizzard. And they're pretty much locked down, not being able to do too much for like 2 weeks. Because something happened with the power to the studio, I don't know. So they were in a hotel for 2 weeks.
They should have stayed in Florida.
Yeah, but again, like the last album, Steve Blaze pretty much says the record company pushed him to put this up. He wanted to stay on the road for another 6 months to a year and push Poetic Justice, but they wanted him back in the studio to push out another album. And he says that this is the closest album musically, lyrically to where they wanted to be as a band, which I mean, I can. After listening to it, I can agree with them 100%. The album comes in 55 minutes and 56 seconds, so a tad bit longer than the last one, but not too much. The band is pretty much Ron Taylor vocals again, Steve Blaze lead, John Steer rhythm, and Darren Delate bass, and now they got Tommy Scott, aka Tommy Stewart, on drums for this album, which is later went on to be the drummer of Godsmack, which his playing on this album to me is off the scale. He gives them the little difference, and there's a little bit. I mean, there's many differences on this album from the last one, but he gave him a little thing to go push it over the edge in the right direction. Again, I'm just gonna say that to me, this album was a lot heavier, darker, creative. The growth and lyrically, the lyrics are more growth, musically growth. Just the production on this album is such a standout, and the production is the same recorder, same guy as the last album, Leaf
Masses.
Masses. Thank you. Which surprisingly, it's the same and to me, much I don't know, killer sound. I think this album, and I'm going to turn it over to Steve and let's hear what he has to say about this.
Yeah, this is actually probably the album that I came in on these guys at. BC and I had been friends for, like good friends for a couple years, and, it was one of the bands that we were throwing back and forth. We talked about it with Sabotage, and it was one of them that he threw out to me, and I'm like, yeah, because I had literally just gotten this album. It was the year I was hired in the fire department. It came out in 1993, I'm sorry, and it was one of them bands that I've heard the name, but I never really scoped them out. But when I got this album, BC's like, you got to check this album out. Starts out with Crucified. You get the and heavy to start with right off the bat. And thank you, Lillian Axe, for having no shitty intro and naming your album that. I appreciate it. But like grinding riff, this song rocks right out of the gate. The drums are pounding to go along with the grindage. Great Ron Taylor vocals, some layered vocals in parts. The pre-chorus is fantastic. The chorus is great. Excellent soloing in it from Steve Blaze. An excellent intense song to start the album off for sure. Deep Freeze, you get that like you're getting kick-ass drums, like that machine gun type snare right off the bat on this one. And the guitars go right along with it. Another intense part that leads up to the main riff. The riff just friggin' rocks. It changes time for the verses. This song is a standout, like over the whole band's catalog for me. There's so many like different facets to this song. Kicks up for the chorus, killer bass, double bass drumming for the fast lyrics in this. For the fast lyric parts in this one, then they back down to the groove for the verses and the segue into the change that friggin' absolutely kills again. I think that this album should have been called Deep Freeze. I think Deep Freeze would have been a fucking fantastic title for this album. The solo's short on this one, but it's killer. I love this song. Like I said, I don't know if when they went with Psychoschizophrenia, if they just wanted to be like different, this big long title that people are like, oh, it must be weird, or let's try it or something. But I think Deep Freeze would have been a fantastic album title for this album. Go to Moonlight in Your Blood next. Another favorite song of mine. This song is just so fucking melodic. One of those songs that gives me that feel. Fantastic vocals. I like the back and forth of the vocals on this for the verses. Chorus is fucking amazing. Drum fills to go right back into the verses. And I've written down, goddamn, this song is so melodic. The excellent solo with some shredding at the end. Nothing too fancy though, but it absolutely fits. Love this song. Stop the Hate. You get a little, which you didn't get a whole lot on these guys. You get a little plinky keyboard thing in the beginning there. That are the like kind of the melody at the start of the song. You get the kids talking, hey Adam, remember when we were real little and everything seemed so perfect like a fairy tale? Yeah, little brother, but that was then and this is now. And then it's got like such a dramatic feel to it that is cool. That kind of the dramaticness kind of gives me a little not sound wise, but a Sabotage kind of vibe, just that dramaticness in the song. The keyboard plays the melody chugging, and it goes down for the lyrics. Great build on this song. Very understated chorus, which is kind of cool because it's not like right in your face. Very melodic solo with the piano in the background. Really good one. Like I said, very dramatic. I like the feel of it. Kind of gives you a little change of the pace because you kind of go down for Moonlight in the Blood. Then this one you get a kind of a different feel for it, which I think is cool. Speaking of dramatic, the next song, Sign of the Times, this has a very TSO feel to it for me. Absolutely has a TSO. Well, it wouldn't be TSO at that time. It wouldn't be Sabotage. But if you are more in tune with TSO, this could be a song that I think TSO could throw in their set and people would think it was theirs and they would fucking love it. Goes in very like I said, very TSO start. Then it goes into like a stomping rocker. I love how they layer the vocals. The harmonies are great. Crunchy guitars grinding for the chorus into the verses. The solo absolutely rips, and the band is chugging like a motherfucker underneath it. Another song, aces for me. Needle in Your Pain. Now we go down. We have the acoustic thing for like a soft soft, heartfelt song. Ron's vocal, I think he sings good when he sings in that low register. You get that. It's a nice song, I'll say. I like it. I don't hate it. I'm not a skipper, but it's not one that I'm gonna turn up any volume to. Those Who Pray, piano and synth start. We're getting a little more production values in this album. I found over the other last couple ones. The chorus has a different feel to it. The good leads are sprinkled. That BC, I know he likes that. The solo starts melodic. Then there's a short shredding part at the end of it. Good song, not a favorite, but it's decent though. Voices in My Wall, chugging bass and drum start. Heavy melodic guitar. More piano in the background. Understated Ron Taylor vocals. More layering, which I like when they do that. Grinding kick up for the pre-chorus. The chorus is good. Kicks down for like a bluesy type solo, which you don't get a lot of that from Steve Blaze. You don't get that kind of bluesy feel, but you get it here. Then goes right back down to that kind of heavier type of pre-chorus. This one has a weird feel to it, I think, but it's good. Now You Know, another mellower song. We're losing a little momentum here, I think, BC. Good song, but we're back into the territory that we had in the first two albums with too many mid-tempo, kind of plotting kind of songs. I wanted another rocker. Come on, guys. But this one's all right. Some great vocal harmonies here, but they're starting to lose me a little bit. I'm starting to fall off the edge here a little bit. Then we get Deep Blue Shadows. This one has some promise. More up-tempo, great guitar tone. I missed that in the last few songs. There's kind of like a lull there in those three songs in a row. This one brings you back. The solo is really good. I needed another song like this at this time of the album. I really did. And I put in here, Steve Blaze is just such a non-rated guitar player. He's fantastic. Great deep track, for Deep Blue Shadows, but it is a great deep track. The Day I Met You, guys, you had me back. You had me back. And then boom, another ballad. It's okay, but did we really need another one at this point? I'm glad they're at the back end of the album. Title track next to close the album out, Psychoschizophrenia. We're back again, another heavy rocker. This one's got a cool groove to it. Really cool lead runs into the verses that BC had mentioned before on the other album. There's a total guitar tone change for the solo, which is different here. And the arrangement has kind of a different feel to it. The melodic guitars play out. But I think it's a really, really good album ender. We could have absolutely made this album as well, like a 10-song album. Leave one of the mellower tracks in there. Trash a couple of them. But we don't have those shitty little musical interludes in this one. Thank you, fellas. I appreciate that. Like I said, a 10-song album would have been enough. They lost me like around track 8, like in that second side of the album. They kind of lost me a little bit on it, but and they're still headed in that forward direction. I really enjoyed this one, and actually this is the only Lillian Axe album that I own on vinyl, and I literally just got it like a month ago, and I just took it off the turntable the other day. What do you think?
Alrighty. All right. Like I said, this album took on a darker feel. Like, I mean, a lot of the songs that you were saying, they lost you in that little part. I think it's just they were darker and wherever they were at the time. But you open up and Crucified. This is the way you open up an album. My point, that gives that little the guitar part into that killer riff to drums to match. And when I say dual vocals, it's Ron Taylor and Steve Blaze singing together.
Right.
Have you ever seen him live?
Yeah.
Even to this very day, he does it, but he's probably, oh my God. I had to get to digging it.
Absolutely.
I know, I gotta let it go. Anyways, great album opener. It has that little quick solo. Deep Freeze. I love that guitar and drum start off into the heavy groove. The double bass, like you said, in the choruses are great, and the little part before the solo. I love these little music dads that they do before the solos. Again, another quick solo, but fits it perfectly. Moonlight in Your Blood. I love this. I mean, Ron's vocals sound great, I think. And of course, you have my favorite ride cymbal in this before the pre-choruses and everything. Another cool solo. Still loving the ride cymbal. Track 4, it's Stop the Hate. You know, I got the bells, like ding, 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 and the little boys talking to each other. You know, talking like when they were kids. And I said, you can relate to today's world if you hear that now. Like, hey, that was dead, but this is today. Again, kids talking back and forth. You have the keys and the riff. I love the bass in this song. Just the more dual vocals. I just love it. And again, those little parts before the solos. So cool. Track 5, Sign of the Times, has the epic opener, and then into the driving drums and the groove riff. And again, another little musical part before the solo, which I just love, and then it kicks into a killer solo. Steve Blaze, come on. Track 6 is going to be the Needle in Your Pain, slow tune. It's I guess they wrote it mainly about a story of a child that passed away from cancer and stuff, and so to me, I think it's a powerful song. But I mean, when the meaning behind it, but the guitar solo in it, which is all acoustic, I think it's killer for an acoustic guitar solo. Track 7, Those Who Pray. You know, starts off, of course, piano and vocal start into the riff, some more of the dual vocal, and Steve Blaze, come on. And again, they have that little musical part before the solo, which I'm loving that. Track 8, Voices in My Walls. Love the bass line. To me, that's a standout. It has a mood solo to it that fits it, kind of with some spacey sounds behind it. Fits it. Track number 9, Now You Know. It has a mellow start, and then it gets heavier for the chorus, and it goes right back down. But I like at the end of the tune, it picks up, and at least it picks up at the end of the song. Track 10, Deep Blue Shadows. I think this is the closest song to the last 3 albums of songs musically. It's not that as dark. Has a upbeat, like more of an 80s riff. Big chorus. Again, another solid soul from Steve Blaze. Track 11, The Day I Met You. Again, acoustic tune. About, I guess you would say about a loved one or a relationship or whatever you want to look at it as. But overall, not bad. But then they finish it off with the title track, which to me is just such a heavy tune. Which this is the way you definitely got to finish an album. Just that killer riff, the choruses, and I love the hey, hey, it's. And then it even has like a little violin part before the solo. And of course, more Wright in it. You gotta love the Wright solo. So, I mean, to me, this album, this is, I think, where they could have been like the last album, but I don't know. Overall, I love the way they're going. And then, like I said, when this album came out, timing was terrible in 92, 93 when grunge got big. And pretty much, this is their last album on IRS. That deal, and then they kind of surfed through record labels for the last, God knows how many years.
30 years.
30 years or so, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, too bad this was an album ahead, and maybe see where they... Timing is everything in the music business, I guess. And this album just came out at a bad musical time for this type of music, I thought. Overall, killer album, though.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, and it sucks too because like, I thought they were hitting their stride.
They were.
You know, they especially, you know, going over these albums since they were ones that I listened to, you know, from the beginning, but going back listening to them and I'll ask you, I don't know, yours will may be the same as mine. Like if I had to rank these, I would rank them the order that they were released. Because I think each one got a little better, and I love Psychoschizophrenia because it's a go-to album for me. It's been since it came out, and it's one that even before I was able to pick up the vinyl on it, it was one that I would just, you know when you're scrolling through your catalog on your phone or whatever, and you're like, I just want to listen to something. That's an album that I would regularly come to. That I'm like, oh, you know what? I haven't listened to this song in like 6 months, so I'll throw it on. So I listened to this album. I mean, listened the hell out of it when it first came out, and then, you know, over the years, and then when, you know, streaming started, all that shit, like when I have the CD, I would throw the CD in all the time, and this is one that I do find myself going back to. I listen to this without doing this probably 2 or 3 times a year I go to, which, you know, over the hundreds and hundreds of albums and CDs and shit that I have, not a lot of them get the same treatment that this does.
No, I have to agree. I mean, I still love going back to the debut album, self-titled album. I throw it down on every now and then. The second one has one of my favorite songs on. I mean, like you said, everyone continues to go in the right direction at least. Usually, like, bands come out with their best albums and they go downhill after that. I don't think this is the case with Lillian Axe. I mean, even after this album, and we'll talk about it down the road, there are other albums. I mean, again, the music was not the forefront of the music scene,
right?
So
but they were still putting shit out.
They were still putting shit out, and they kind of experiment a little bit different with some albums, and we'll talk about that down the road. But I mean, I think they still to this very day put out quality stuff.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, and that's where it's going to get interesting for me, because I've heard, other than like the last 2 albums that they put out like 2 years ago and then last year, I don't know anything in between. And it's going to be interesting to when we do them, because I literally, without the 12, and it was probably 2020, probably 2022. The last 2 albums were out, maybe 2019 and 2022, like around there. Those last 2 albums were out, but literally from 1993 up until 2019 or 18, whatever that other one came out, I know nothing about any of these songs. So it's going to be totally new for me once, you know, we do part 3 of this.
Mm-hmm. And
we'll see.
The musical chairs will start with the band too.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, some musical chairs, I don't want to see a musical chair change, but so is life. But we will definitely talk more about these guys, which is going to be interesting because Steve has never heard any of this stuff.
Not a note.
For the record, it is coming. All these ones you never heard of are coming out in vinyl.
Are they?
Yeah. It might be out. 2 of them might be out right now.
Interesting.
Right. Yeah. So that was our album duos for this episode of the album duos with Lillian Axe, Poetic Justice from 1992 and Psychoschizophrenia from 1993. Which I mean, I think it's a great album, even though they said the album company kind of pushed them. And I don't hear it. I mean, I'd like to see what the album would sound like if they did get pushed. But I don't know. What do you think about these 2 albums, Steve?
I like them. I enjoyed them. Like I said, I think that they've gotten better as we've gone along, production-wise as well. And I'm looking forward to the next ones. And I like doing these. It gives everyone else a break in the action. And we're recording this one like 2 days after we recorded the last episode, just so we can give this next week off. We're not recording anything next week, so we have like 2 episodes banked. So that puts us ahead of the game. And I like this. I like doing the album duos. Like I said, it gives everyone else a break. But it's introduced me to stuff that a lot of it that I'm not familiar with. I did this one with you. I did the Queen with Dylan. I did the Mr. Big with BB, Y&T with Sonny, Priest with Steven, AC/DC with Brad, and Iron Maiden with Aaron. So it's it's interesting. And actually, I think one or 2 more people that I'm going to be doing this with different bands. But I just want to say before BC wraps up here, thanks for listening, you guys. It's great, you guys sticking with us for all these years and all these episodes, and it's always a blast. Dylan will put together a Spotify playlist of songs from these 2 albums, and he'll probably throw in ones from the first 2 albums as well, just to give you guys a little taste of some Lillian Axe. And seriously, don't dismiss them, because there's some really, really good stuff in there.
All right, I agree. I mean, I've been with these guys since the beginning. I'm usually the most obscure guy at a podcast. I'm finding bands from God knows where and bringing these guys.
They're usually good.
They're usually good. Sometimes I strike up, and I keep bringing the, I guess you would say, hidden bands that from the underground where my wheelhouse is. I like the oddball stuff. I mean, I love a lot of bands that are mainstream bands, I guess you would say, and popular, but I also love the nobodies, I guess you can almost say, right, in the music world. But so that was our second installation of the Lillian Axe albums. So again, thank you for joining us. It's kind of weird for me, almost like 2 times in a row.
I know, you're
hosting the show. I'm like, I might have to.
You got another one coming up in August.
I know, Jesus Christ, I'm gonna be blown up in 1 year. Anyways, thank you guys for joining us, and check us out on everything where you can find all podcasts and everything. I'm not great on all the things, but you guys know where you can find us pretty much everywhere. All right, thanks for joining us. So until next time, and there will be a next time.